So we are back with a brand new episode of Walkin Talkin with Tim, and my guest today is Hollie Mershon. Am I saying that right?
Yes, perfect.
And Hollie is the founder and creator of Weightless, as you can see, right? So I'm gonna let Hollie tell you exactly what Weightless is and where you can get it.
Sure, yeah. So Weightless is a mental health driven lifestyle brand, and our mission is to serve as a reminder that feeling lighter is always possible and within reach despite the weight and heaviness of mental health challenges, and that prioritizing your mental health is something to be proud of. And we sell online right now. I promote everything on my Instagram and TikTok, but sales are done through our online store at weightlessclothing.com.
So you grew up in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And what was it, Malvern?
Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Malvern, Pennsylvania. You played basketball through high school, and you said you went to an all-girls school for a little while.
Yes.
And you said when you came, what was that one?
Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart. So shout out to Malvern and Sacred Heart, right?
Yes.
And then when you were continuing on, because you were, obviously you were good at basketball, you went to Drexel.
Yes.
And you played at Drexel.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you go to college for?
I studied education and psychology.
Really?
Yes.
How about that? We didn't get to that, right?
No, we didn't.
So the story that surrounds you is really, it centers around basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It centers around sports, basketball, and your career in basketball, right?
Correct.
So you go to Drexel, and you said that when you were coming out of Drexel, you essentially got recruited by an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So to talk a little bit about how that whole thing took place.
Sure. So after I graduated from Drexel, there was a few agents that reached out to me and mentioned the possibility of, either getting a WNBA tryout or the opportunity to play basketball professionally overseas, which I never really even considered.
Both are exciting.
Both are exciting. But it was definitely something to think about. I felt like at that point I was very much a homebody. I went to school 45 minutes from where I grew up. So leaving the country was a bit terrifying. And my agent eventually got me a contract at the end of the summer. It was a pretty big contract in Lithuania with a EuroLeague team, which is one of the top leagues in Europe. And closed my eyes, signed it, and I was off to Lithuania.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine I'm going to Lithuania to play basketball.
Exactly. And what's funny—
See you, Mom.
What's funny is I had heard of Lithuania before. One of my teammates at Drexel, she was a year ahead of me. She was Lithuanian.
Oh, really?
So it provided some comfort that I knew someone from that country.
Right.
So it was a little bit of an easier transition for me.
Right. And then, you said that from Lithuania you went to where?
I went to Portugal for half a season. Yes. Portugal half a season, and then I came back to Lithuania on a different team for the second half of the season.
Okay.
Yes. It was the way our contract was structured. I played the first half of the season in Portugal to participate in Euro Cup, and then once that was over, I needed to look for another contract, and Lithuania recruited me from seeing me play the previous season, another team.
And then off to Sweden.
Then off to Sweden for my last 4 seasons.
With, Sven and Olaf and all
Yes.
that, right?
Yep.
But so Sweden, you said, was your favorite, right?
It's hard to pick a favorite. I think because I was there the longest and I really got to immerse myself in the culture. I learned a little bit of the language. I really developed what I feels like a family over there.
Yeah.
So I just got to spend a little bit more time there, so that's probably why it's my favorite. But they were all amazing.
So in Sweden, you're playing, you told me you did what, 4 seasons?
4 seasons, yep.
And so during those 4 seasons, we've got 2 injuries.
Yes.
First injury
was my left knee. The end of my first season in Sweden, I tore my left ACL and both my meniscuses. And then
But you came home.
I came home for surgery.
Right.
And then I came back at the beginning of the season in Sweden to complete my rehab. And I came back halfway through my second season in Sweden.
Right. But the second season in Sweden, you had to come back because it was your other knee. And you said that was a blessing.
Yeah, so I came back and it was technically my going into my 3rd season in Sweden. I went through all the preseason, all of the games, felt great. My first game back, our first official game back was in Latvia, and I tore my ACL attacking the basket, my second knee. And it was in September. I went home in October to get surgery for a second time, and it was a blessing in disguise because my pop-up was very sick, and was probably my favorite person, still is my favorite person.
Your best friend.
And I got to spend the last few months with him, and I was actually there holding his hand as he passed away. So,
oh gosh.
Like I told you before, if, I would tear my ACL over and over again to, be able to spend
those last minutes.
Yep.
I can't even imagine. But I mean, to think at the time when it happened, you were devastated that you had to stop. Mm-hmm. However, after it happens, like everything happens for a reason, right?
Exactly.
You come home and you got to spend that time. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's one of the reasons why I started playing basketball.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. He always said, like, put Hollie in basketball, because I was a big soccer player before that, and then I was introduced to basketball.
You're also 5'10".
Sure. Yep. I was always taller than everyone, but it worked out in soccer as well. I played goalie a little bit, so it made sense.
So this essentially, all of this, if you culminate all this entire story, is the catalyst for what helped you start the clothing, right? Mm-hmm. Because you started when so you said that when that second time around, I guess when you came back, even the first time around, you said you were starting to feel anxious, right? Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about, how the anxiety kind of started and how you dealt with it.
So when I tore my first ACL, I went home, and you're so used to a schedule, waking up every morning, whether you're lifting or conditioning, and then midday you have practice or you have a game and you're traveling. And when I tore my ACL, it took me out of the sport entirely. In my entire life, I never had an injury that stopped me from playing.
Right.
So it was a bit of a shock to the body and the mind. I didn't know what to do with myself. And that caused a lot of anxiety because there was also a lack of control. I was fearful or scared of the future. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to come back from it, play the game that I love. So it was a lot of fear-based, and I had developed a ton of anxiety.
You're going 100 miles an hour and you just stop. Brick wall.
Exactly. And it wasn't something that I had ever dealt with before.
Or planned or wanted.
Exactly. And I was just also in a lot of pain after the surgery. Rehab was tough. And, you have all these goals that you make for yourself, especially as an athlete, regardless of what level you're at. And then you just, kind of watch it. I don't
wither away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just essentially disappear.
Yep. Yes.
Because as soon as that last big injury happens, that's kind of the end of it, right?
Yep.
So all of that leads up to, the idea of you starting this clothing line. So you said that one day you said you just started thinking like, hey, I wish you said you were using weighted blankets for anxiety and that kind of stuff. I know my daughters have them, my wife has them. A lot of people I know have weighted blankets. I have anxiety. I deal with it myself. So I know what it's like. So, and it's just something that needs to be talked about. People aren't open enough about the fact that, listen, stuff kind of freaks you out and it's okay.
Yes.
It's not, you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you.
Absolutely not.
It's just a little bit of an imbalance like anything else. You could have diabetes. It's the same kind of thing. It's just something that's got to be dealt with, right?
Sure.
So you came up with this really cool idea. I'm wearing it. It feels like I'm wearing a weighted blanket, like a comfort blanket. It feels like wearing the sweatshirt is like wearing a hug. That's exactly what it feels like. So you told me, tell them everybody how you came up with, like you talked about how you made it.
Sure. So when I came back from overseas, when I retired, I struggled a lot with my identity and my purpose, and then that came a lot of anxiety, and I was just sad. I lost the game that I was in love with, or playing that, and just
lost the dream you were hoping for.
Exactly. And it wasn't something that I was prepared for. I didn't know that it was going to happen. And as the years went on, I felt like I was getting worse. Like it wasn't getting better. And I just felt like I had a lack of purpose. I didn't know what to do. And I always felt like there was something more for me, and I didn't know what that was. I knew that I always wanted to create something, and one day, like this is literally a true story. I was sitting on my sofa and I was like, it'd be really cool if there was a weighted hoodie. And I can't remember if I was wearing a weighted blanket at the time or I saw something on TV, but it literally just like clicked in my apartment. And I Googled something. Someone was promoting this type of product for anxiety. I ordered it and I was like, wait, I could make this myself.
Yeah.
And I had a product that was a little bit similar to this, where it was like heavier in weight without adding actual weight to it.
Right.
And I looked for manufacturers for about like a year and a half, and I couldn't find someone that understood how to make this product. It is a double knit 100% cotton hoodie.
Right.
So I went on TikTok and I literally searched double knit hoodie. And
my wife's gonna love that you did this on TikTok.
I search everything on TikTok. There's like so many influencers out there that like you can find anything. It's like the new Google. And a few manufacturers popped up. I reached out to them and they sent me their product. They both pretty much nailed it, but I ended up going with one based on the customer service that they provided, and I'm still using them today.
Right.
Yep.
So basically, you know, if we're summing it up, you took what was the worst of your life, the worst thing that happened to you in your life, and you turned lemons into lemonade. Like you were handed a basket of lemons and you said, all right, I can deal with this, you know, as hard as it was. I mean, you're out here dealing with all this emotion and all this anxiety, and when it first happens, it's hard to understand what it even is.
Exactly.
That's the hardest part. Mm-hmm. Once you figure it out what it is and you accept that it's there and it probably isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part to nail down.
Well, I honestly didn't even know I was struggling with my identity and purpose. I think my mom noticed a shift in me and she was like, you're going through a big transition. This is normal for you to feel this way.
Yeah.
Like you stopped playing the game that you loved. You've been an athlete your entire life, and now you kind of have to figure out what's next. And at that point, it kind of like clicked and I was like, oh my goodness, she's right. Like this is what's happening with me, and I didn't recognize it in myself.
Isn't it crazy how mom's always right?
I know. You're always right, Mom. She's gonna love that.
You know, Mom, she told me when we were walking around talking, she said, my mom is always right. Drives her a little crazy, but she knows it, she acknowledges it, and you should know that. So
she's gonna love that.
Yep, that's good stuff. But listen, so after all that, you know, like what's next? What are you gonna do with all this stuff? What's the plan?
The plan is to definitely grow this into as big as it can be.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, I'm really focusing on the Philadelphia area and trying to build a community here and spread the word. And, you know, people have responded. I've had tons of coffees and meetings with people that have different ideas and helping me promote my mission. Zach Bond.
Or it into which game? With the last playoff game, right?
Yes. The second to last game. Second to last game. Yep.
You wore it in. It's on your website.
Yep. And then that got me on Fox 29, Good Day Philadelphia. So
That's where I saw you.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really leaning on Philadelphia to help me out, and it's turned out so good. And you know, being able to
now you're in South Jersey.
Exactly.
And boom, boom, boom. It's gonna go quick. You'll see.
I'm very thankful, and I want to take everyone that has helped me along the ride with me. So like if this grows into a national brand or something bigger, like Philadelphia, people in New Jersey are a part of it, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So if people want to buy your product, how do they do it?
You can go on our website, weightlessclothing.com, or follow us on social media. I would say the easiest way is probably our Instagram at weightlessclothing_. But either or, you can make a purchase.
So it's weightlessclothing.com. That's how you find her. I'm saying it again because I know these basketballs are probably in the background, and I've got the biggest mouth out of anybody, right? So, all right, well, listen, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
This was a lot of fun.
This was so much fun.
I think we're going to turn this into something bigger. I'm going to talk to Kristen. But everybody out there, keep on walking, keep on moving. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff.
Follow Tim.
And we'll see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim. Peace.